welcome to episode 32 of the Making It podcast. That was close. We are a little bit late with recording. I do apologise. It's been a mad week. Been moving house. The other house is flooded. So we're in a temporary house, very nice temporary house, 20 minutes down the road. And Dan is currently in Mallorca.
Mallorca, yeah.
He's in Mallorca. He's not gone to Magaluf this time, though. Why not, Dan? Did Kev not fancy the night out?
He didn't fancy the Maga strip.
Well, Kev was mad for it, to be fair. How are we, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, brother. Quite chill, to be honest, because I'm on holiday in Mallorca, Porto Pollensa. It's somewhere we've been before, actually. We came here 10 years ago, so it's quite nostalgic, like walking down roads. It's a little bit like a trip down memory lane. But no, it's really nice. I always enjoy this time of year. We typically go away in August for a week with our family or just us, and it's really nice. Went on a run this morning with my dad. Been pushing him quite a bit because he's been trying to run further. He did his furthest run again today. We did 15k in the hot sun in Mallorca. So yeah, it was hard, but we got through it, and now I'm feeling great, to be honest. But yeah, how's your week been? Because it's been a bit of a mad one, hasn't it? You know, random jobs, red belly snakes, whatever you call it, and moving houses, like that Australian lifestyle, eh?
Yeah, I've experienced it to the full. So we had a tap burst when we were away in Western Australia, and it's messed up the floor. Like, the floor's mangled. The whole top floor of the house is just black mold under the floors. The electricity's, messed up. Ceilings downstairs need to be replaced. So I've been sorting the garden out before we left there, and then we moved all of our stuff to here, 4 weeks worth of stuff. And then I was working in Mullumbimby.
Mullumbimby.
Mate, it's what do they call it? The biggest little town in the world or something. It's just such a small little town somewhere random. But my mate Mikey's got 30 acres of land. Like, we got to his house and it's on this, he's got 3 different places. So he has the first place where he lived, which was a cabin. Him and his wife lived there, and they saved up all the money to build their new home. And then if you go down the slope a little bit more, there's a little flat plane, and their house is there, and it's made of hemp. You know hemp?
Yeah.
Because hemp is like fireproof and all this kind of stuff. Wicked house. Like, he's an architect. It's wicked. And then if you go down a bit more, there's an Airbnb. And in between it, there's like banana trees, random fields. They're putting horses and stuff there. So basically, I was just strimming around these banana trees all through the fields. God, mate, the string on this strimmer must have broke on me about 50 times. I was losing my mind. It was boiling. I'm in like all black clothes because I've not got all my gardening gear yet. So I've ordered some new trousers and whatever else. Oh my God, mate, I was just dying in this heat. Next thing you know, Mikey's like, oh, there's a red belly black snake over here. Look over there. And there's just this 6-foot red belly, poisonous, by the way, or venomous, one of the two. Either way, you don't want to touch it. So I'm not going to get into an argument if it's poisonous or venomous. Touch it and find out, mate. And it's just there, crawling along the banana trees. Disgusting, mate. Disgusting.
Mate, that's mental that you're gardening like places like that. Because when you said you were gardening in Australia, I was thinking, oh, it's just gardening. But then when you actually think about where you're gardening, like, you might come across some mad stuff, so just be careful with that stuff, brother. But mate, thinking about snakes and crazy stuff like that, let's talk about fear today, brother. Because I know you had an experience lately where you were afraid about doing something, a particular thing. You were very nervous about it, and then when you did it, it was very rewarding. So speak to the listener about what that was, and it's just that idea of, we're all afraid of things and we all experience fear. But it's almost like like we always talk about breaking down those barriers. So share that story with us, brother.
So I did a trial shift at like a retro Italian jazz restaurant. Pretty cool. Cocktail bar. And I thought I'd be working in the kitchen because I sent over my CV. It's very kitchen heavy. A little bit of bar, but very kitchen heavy. And I got there, really nice staff. They showed me around all the working area. Everyone's busy at work and stuff. And he was like, oh, have you ever made a cocktail before? I was like, never. He was like, oh, okay, we're going to learn. I was like, there's nothing about the kitchen? And he's like, no. you're going to be doing cocktails. And I was like, okay, right. So you usually just think that you're just chucking all this stuff in a drink and shaking it, but there's so much that goes to it. Like the presentation, where you put the glass when you make the cocktail. You have to make the cocktail in front of people, so you're not hiding it away from them. That's part of the luxury of having a cocktail. And I was just terrified. Like, I remember picking up the glass and just shaking, and I'm like, compose yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like, just chill out a little bit. Remembering the measurements, remembering things, how you hold this, how you do that. There's so much information, but then I kind of just dumbed it down to like individual things. Instead of thinking about every drink when I'm making one drink, just focus on what you've got to do now. Everything else you can think about at a different time. But I was super scared. And then midway through, when I was like, I'm not sure I'm enjoying this, this is really difficult, I just suddenly got this like, yeah, I want to do this. This is mint. Like, I made a couple of drinks and, you know, I tested them and they were nice. I ended up drinking the drinks I made as well, which was quite fun.
On shift?
It was a trial hour and a half. So it was just a very quick introduction, because it's kind of hard to trial shift. If you've not got experience in cocktail making before, you can't just jump into it and do a shift. Like, it's not like any other job, you know, where you can wash pots, you can do something else. Unfortunately, I'm probably not going to be able to do that job, even though I have been offered it, because we've now moved here for a month/5 weeks, and I intend on moving somewhere else, you know, in the next 5 or 6 weeks. So it's how it goes. It's not ideal. I did actually really want to do that, and I was looking forward to it. I went and bought new shirts for it. I went and bought loads of clothes for it, and now I've got to move. So it's how it goes. But the main takeaway from what I'm trying to say is that, like, that moment when you do feel a bit of fear, just hold on to it for a second, because actually it can be something that's quite bittersweet in a way. Like, it's not bittersweet, but it's like, what was it that Mr. Cornby said once to us in an assembly when we were at school? In year 7, there was an assembly he did, and I'll never forget it. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruits are sweet, right? And it's like with fear. The roots of your fears, horrible, bitter, probably thorny, and just nasty. But that reward, once you push through and you pull out them roots and you get the fruit, that's so worth it. Shout out Mr. Cornby.
I think when it comes to like experiencing fear, it's just that overwhelming feeling. You know, you got something you want to do. Say, for example, with me, I remember my first date with Scarlett, and I was so nervous, bricking it, as you would on a first date, as most people probably have had it on a first date. Just not really knowing what you're going to say, how you're going to be, is it going to be awkward? But you do it. And now, obviously, I've been with Scarlett almost 2 years now. Like, it's rewarding. I remember first starting my Instagram, and I remember just setting it up, not even posting anything on it, just setting it up and sharing it to my normal Instagram. For me, I was afraid of doing that because I was worried about what people are going to think about it. Now posting a video every day is nothing for me. I remember the first time posting a video of me talking on there, I didn't even want to look back at it. Now it's like, it's easy for me. It's like these things that we're so afraid of doing are the most worthwhile. And as much as they feel overwhelming to begin with, if you can push through that and then do it, it may even feel really tough during the period of doing it, but that feeling afterwards is so rewarding. And I think that's the thing with me with fear. It's a feeling you're never going to avoid. Maybe there's things you can do in the moment to ease the pressure of it, be a bit calmer. But if you can break through that fear of doing something and just get through it, it's just that it's so rewarding afterwards. What for you can you kind of think of from your memories, which something you were so afraid of doing, but you did it, and it was just such a rewarding experience for you?
Well, first of all, bro, I want to say I can't believe it's been nearly 2 years, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Out to Scarlett, because I remember this guy telling me about this really nice girl that he likes and who he hopes he can date. And I'm like trying to G him up and, you know, sitting on that bench near, I'm not going to reveal the place. Secret spot, mate. But yeah, crazy. 2 years. But for me, I think snorkeling in WA was a big one. I always said as well, I also said that I didn't want to swim in Australia in water that was deeper than my chest. Because I'm like, nah, you don't do that unless you want to, like, get eaten, you know. But it wasn't as bad as I thought. I don't know. I think a lot of career things, you know, like I'd probably say I wouldn't have done them, but like I was always going to do them. It was always inevitable that they'd happen, but I always kind of said to myself, God, I don't think I could ever do that. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like me going, I will never do it. It's like, God, I really think it's unlikely. But you know,
Like
just
that day
doing
when
it
you
for the first time.
got in a suit for your first commentary, were you scared that day?
Terrified. And you know, the biggest thing I was terrified of wasn't my ability to read the game, which, by the way, back then was awful. Like I look back now and I go, wow, my ability to read the game now is so much better. And I can talk so much better about football. You know, I wouldn't have wanted to listen to myself back then. But at the same time, I remember the biggest fear being, how do I remember all these names? And now I find myself using that same memory recall in everything I do. You know, when I go to football, I could probably tell you the names of all the players from the 10s team, the 13s team, the 14s team, the 18s team, and all the other lads that hang around. Like, you use that memory recall for everything. So that first time I put that suit on, terrified, but I didn't realise how much it would benefit me to go and do it that night. And just taking an opportunity when someone presents it, because that's what this is, right? This is me being here, you being there, you know, family being presented with an opportunity to go on holiday, you take it. I'm being presented with an opportunity to be away, you take it. Like, my stepdad's always said to me with stuff, accept the opportunity and figure out how you're going to do it later. Like, my favourite was always my first pro commentary, where I was in Greece the night before the commentary and I wasn't getting home till like 3 a.m, 4 a.m, and I had to be in Birmingham at like 10 a.m. And I just did it. He called me and he said, can you do it? And I'm like, yeah, I can do it. I had no idea. I got off that phone call and almost cried, because I'm like, how on earth do I get back from Athens, get back to my house at 4 a.m, wake up to get to Birmingham, which is 2 hours, give or take. You should probably give 2.5 hours just in case. You know, like, you've got to do all that. Like, you don't, if you know that logistically it's possible, but it's difficult, you got to make it work with opportunities and stuff. And being scared of something, as long as you're kind of scared for the right reasons, isn't a bad thing. If you're genuinely scared for your health and something going wrong, probably don't do it. Like,
Yeah, there's different types
don't
of
get in
fear,
a car with a drunk person, all that kind of
yeah.
stupid stuff. But when it comes to things that will benefit you but are daunting, absolutely do them. And if you don't do them, then I would say that it's okay for the first time, maybe. But after that, it's almost a stain on your character for the potential that you've got as a person. That sounds harsh, but I think if you waste opportunities in anything, it's a stain on you, because we're all capable of, sorry, that's my alarm going off. We're all capable of so much more as people, but often we turn down an opportunity for the sake of something different, you know? So, and another thing, I was speaking to my mate Declan about it, is about the plants that you water in your life. Who you water, in terms of who do you give all your time to, you know? And this is another thing. People waste opportunities, and they put all their water on one plant and they forget just how much they need another plant. You know, and it's like in life, you give too much time to someone who really doesn't care about you, who doesn't reciprocate the love and the support you give them. And before you know it, you've wasted opportunities. Maybe you didn't go out on that family meal because you went to go and see them. Maybe you missed out on that final meeting with one of your family members, God forbid. Maybe you missed out on a job opportunity because of it. These are all little things that we think we take for granted in moments, but those opportunities are important, you know?
No, 100%. And that idea of fear holding people back from reaching their potential is a massive thing, which along my journey, I want to try and figure out. You know, how can you push other people to really grasp their potential and break down their own barriers? Because I think there's a lot of things holding people back, and fear is a big part of that. Realistically, there's probably a lot of people out there who have something they know they really want to do or know they should do, but they're afraid to do it for whatever reason. And that's completely normal. but it's about that person trying to find out how to break down those barriers. And if in my role as a sports psychologist, as my career grows, I'd love to be able to learn a way to be able to do that. Because when you mention potential, I've been thinking about that an awful lot. How can you get through that fear? Because when there's so much more to someone that they can experience, they can have in their life. There's so much more to them, but they're just holding themselves back. It's amazing if they can then find something to push through. And sometimes I think it is just having a certain experience. Maybe starting with something small, which you're afraid of, doing that, and then taking it up the next level and just building up in small steps. But fear is a massive one. And I really think fear shapes us. I think those moments when we're really afraid to do something which we actually really want to do are so powerful. I remember when I first went to uni, I was absolutely bricking it of meeting my new flatmates and everything. I remember walking down the hallway and just looking at the kitchen door, and I was like, oh my God, I've just got to go in there. Just face what's in there. I don't know what's going to be in there. And it just turned out to be 4 great lads. You know what I mean? And we had some beers and went on a night out. Like, I'll never forget that experience of just going in there and being in my room for a bit, not wanting to go out. And then I just went in that kitchen and I met Tom, Sid, Johnny and Jake, and it was just unbelievable. So I really think fear shapes us. But it's interesting what you say as well about that idea of fear as well. Maybe telling us things we shouldn't do. If you're afraid to do something because it's dangerous or it's something which doesn't align with us, and that's also a signal not to do that thing. But fear is such a powerful feeling that we experience because, like we say, there's moments where it's really rewarding, but there's also moments where it's a signal not to do something which could potentially harm us. I remember another thing I used to be really afraid of was my athletics races. That's another thing that sparked my sports psychology journey because I was just so afraid to not meet the expectations that I wanted to meet. Go out there and maybe not do as well as other people, or maybe if I lost the race. And it's almost like that idea as well, like thinking too far ahead, worrying about what's going to happen in the future. It's really interesting because yesterday we were having a few drinks and my granddad Ron goes, oh, your 50s are great because logistically you've probably paid off most of your mortgage, or like you've done your career, you're aiming towards retirement. So in terms of that sense, it's a lot more relaxed. But he said you just don't care about anything. You don't compare to other people. You're happy in your own skin completely. And I did say to him, would you not want that to be earlier in your life? You don't want to wait till 50 to experience that. But he said you'll know when you get there because there's probably still things going on for you right now which you don't realize, but you are doing those things, comparing yourself to others, or still a bit insecure about certain things, which I am. I think we all are, like we speak about. And my grandma also said something about she struggled a lot with imposter syndrome. She was afraid of not being good enough in her job as a manager at Co-op. She thought maybe other people were better than her. She shouldn't be in the position she is. But then she realized, no, I am good enough for this position. And she said, I noticed that a lot of people seem like they're doing all right, but they're just floating on the surface. There's actually a lot underneath which they're struggling with. They just float through and try to look as though they're doing all right. And I think that's a massive thing. I think there's so much to people that we don't know, struggles that they're having, things that they're insecure about, things that they're fake about, so to speak. But on the surface, on their image, on the front, they act like they're all strong. And I think that's the powerful thing about this podcast. We don't do that. We talk about the things we're afraid of. And I think fear is just a really powerful thing. But if you have, I know you've probably got something to say, but I also really want listeners to hear about your experience coaching recently, because that's we're talking about rewarding feelings. I mean, that's one of the best feelings you can ever have.
Best, yeah. So I got, obviously I coached the under-14s as the assistant coach. That's my main position at Gold Coast. And then, Matt from Gold Coast, shout out, he asked if I wanted to coach the under-10s on the Saturday because they don't really have a full-time coach. They usually have a parent doing it. And I know some of the lads because I've trained them before. Good kids, but they're under-10s, and the ability isn't quite there for some of them. Like, some of them, it's, they're far behind in their development compared to other kids, which is, again, expected. They're very young. And at some point, they might just go crazy good, or they might just not. And they might just stay how they are, which is fine. But we had a tournament on the Sunday. On the Saturday, we lost 7-2 against a team called Coomera. who actually went on to win the tournament on Sunday. So that softened the blow of losing on the Saturday, because on the Saturday, the lads didn't really know me that well. Some of them turned up late, and it was just a bit disorganised to start with. Things just didn't go so well on the Saturday. Sunday came, everyone's there. I'm kind of counting the numbers. We've all done a couple of drills to start off before the tournament, and I'm like, where's the goalkeeper? Like, one of the midfielders is going and putting gloves on. And I'm like, whoa. Where's the keeper? And he's like, oh, he hasn't got out of bed yet. I was like, are you serious? We're starting the game. So the first 10 minutes, we've got no goalkeeper. We've got this midfielder in it. Bless him, he's only a really small lad. And we ship 2 goals, and we lose that game 3-0. But, I had my little tactics board with me, and I was kind of talking to them all. And tactics isn't really that important within that age group. Because the finer details they're not going to understand. But if you just tell them where they're playing, who to mark, and that they all need to work hard for each other, that was the important thing for me. My rule with that day was everyone bar the goalkeeper has to be putting work in. The striker has to be coming back and helping the midfield when we're defending. Because you're playing 9-a-side, you've got wingers, but they become fullbacks when we're defending. All these things, basically, if we're defending, all of you get back in support. And if we're attacking, go for it. It's very much, like that. But these guys, they've won 1 game all season. And all right, the games are shorter, but we won 3 games on the day. We got 2 of those games were clean sheets. And we lost 2. So we won more than we lost. And, every single time after a game, I felt like the conversation was positive. Even when we lost, they all kind of got in a circle and were like, we know where we went wrong. And they were all talking about how they're going to fix it. And then they went and played a little rondo in the meantime, just while we were waiting for the next game. And, at the end, we didn't make the semi-finals. We missed it by 1 win pretty much. And I kind of just said to them, do any of you know what perspective means? And they're all like, does it mean this? Does it mean? I'm like, nah, it doesn't mean anything near that. But I respect you trying. But I said it means looking at things from a different angle. And it means that, yes, you didn't get to the semi-finals, but let's look at the bigger picture. This season, we haven't won many games. So this isn't a case of me saying, let's be grateful we won today and that's that. That's a case of me going, your potential, you thought before today, was not very high. But actually after today, with the confidence that you've given yourselves, with how hard you've worked for each other, you now know what is possible. You know what's possible. Whether the team's worse or better than you, it doesn't matter. It's about getting something and performing for each other and knowing you've left the pitch having put everything in. Like, the kids, they think they know where they're best to play. So this is what I do. They say to me, I think I'm best up front. So I say, okay, the first 10 minutes you'll stay at centre-back. The last 10 minutes you'll go up front. Let's see how it goes. And they go up front and they don't score and they go, oh, I think you're right, I'll be centre-back. Okay, good. The centre-back, the striker wants to go and be a centre-back. Oh, I'm tall, I'm strong, I can be a centre-back, it's easy. Midway through the game, he's ran from centre-back to striker. I'm like, what are you doing? He says, oh, I don't want to be a defender anymore. I think I'm a better striker. But then after those kind of moments, you build that trust with them because they understand why you're saying certain things. And just within a day, to kind of cut it short, is that I really enjoyed seeing their development because I know how tough of a season they've had, and I know that they've been a little bit low on confidence, and a couple of the players who hadn't scored for ages got themselves a goal. So it was so rewarding for me just to see a team who I built such a strong bond with so quickly do really well. And tournaments are fun. I never really got to do too many tournaments with our team, but I know you guys with Edinburgh did. And you'll know that tournaments are just the best, most engaging, quick turnaround for football. Everyone just has a good time. And we didn't win, didn't get any silverware, but considering what we did in that day, I just said to them all, I said, the steps and the progress that you've made, they probably won't realise it, but if they had seen how they played in the game just the day before and watched it back and they watched how they played that day, they'd be like, wow.
Were you afraid? Were you afraid when they told you were going to be taken on a team for the day, just you?
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm like, I do my warm up. Some of them were like, oh, how do I do this? How do I do that? And you're like, God, then it gets you challenging yourself because you're like, they don't understand it. I've done it wrong. But it's never that. You should trust yourself. After things went a little bit wrong in the warm up, like I tried to introduce this new warm up on the Saturday, I said, right, tomorrow, all of you come ready, knowing this exercise we tried to do today, and we'll do it tomorrow. Promise you, we'll do it tomorrow. The next day they came, they struggled, we kept doing it, and they got it right. And at first I'm like, no, I'm doing it wrong. I don't need to do this. But then you trust yourself. You've done it with every other age group. You've done it millions of times before. You can do this. It's just new kids. That's just how it goes. But it was nervy taking them on because there was no expectation, I don't think. Like, whatever you get, you get. But I just didn't want to lose every game. I really wanted to win games because I wanted to see them happy and enjoy it. And for me personally, like, you want to win games as a coach, right? You don't just want to be the team that everyone's battering. So to win 3, I was buzzing. And Matt, obviously the guy that's running the pre-academy, like, he's like, Jamie, you need to calm down when they score. And I'm like, I can't. Jumping in the air going, yes, come on, boys, get in. But it's like, your passion as a coach, if you're teaching someone, your passion for that topic or that subject should be known, you know? And I'm not celebrating to rub it into the other manager because I'm always respectful with the other manager. Half the time, we're talking with the other manager whilst the game's going on about how the game's going. But I'm passionate and I want them to look back after they scored a goal, seeing me celebrate and go, yeah, he's happy, he's proud. Let's go and get another one. That's how it should be, you know? So
100%.
I want to coach them how Graham coached me a lot when I was, when I was really bad at football, and Graham just said to me, I think, you'll be all right eventually. And he coached me to be okay. I kind of want to coach these kids and give them an opportunity to develop and know that if they're feeling like things aren't going so great now, it doesn't have to be that way forever. And if they're willing to work hard for each other, they can win a lot of games and just have fun. Like, I'm not looking at the league or anything. I'm just, can we go out there, have a good game and have a bit of fun? We can do all those things, then we're happy. I enjoyed the challenge of younger age groups compared to older age groups, because you'll find this out, Dan, because you're in the 15s you're coaching, 14s.
What age group?
Yeah, what age group?
Under 14s at Beeston.
Under 14s. If you ever do kind of 11s, 12s, 10s, it's different. So different. But it's so rewarding to see the different levels,
Mate, it's the best feeling, and that's why I'm grateful we're both getting into coaching, because just how fulfilling it is when you see, someone have a great moment for themselves, someone develop, someone do something they never expected themselves to do. Even just playing football, like when you see one of your fellow teammates just increase in their performance and just get better over time. And there was always a time where you see someone, you'd think, oh, they're a bit of the weaker link of the team, and then they actually become one of the stronger links. It's just, development is such an amazing thing. And that's the beauty of coaching, because you can develop people. But I know you mentioned in your LinkedIn post about it not just being about tactics, and I know you love tactics, but that man-to-man stuff, getting to know the people and connecting with them and pushing them on in that way. I think that's also really important. But something interesting about fear, which I was thinking about, it just came to mind while you were talking, is a lot of it as well is based on our perceptions of how things are going to go, right? A lot of it is more, we're not really fearful about what's happening right now. We're fearful about what's going to happen. Maybe that unknown of not knowing what's going to happen. But if we can kind of shift our own perceptions, and because most of the time we're afraid of something, but it ends up being all right. You being afraid of taking on the under-10 team, and all of a sudden it's one of the best coach. It is the best coaching day of your life. It's so rewarding. But maybe when you're afraid, were you worried about potentially like how it could go wrong? Were you worried about how it could go wrong?
Yeah, and also the fact that, when you're doing a tournament, you're very close with the parents, because the parents are watching very closely, because, again, there's loads of games going on. There was over 200 games that day, and the parents are literally pitch side with you. And when you're, training before the next game, the parents are talking to you, they're engaging with you. And I was really lucky because the parents were very warm and kind to me. So, yeah, I was nervous definitely of what they would think, because their kids haven't won many this season and they're paying to be in the academy, and they want them to progress. So of course I feel a personal onus on me to get something from their kids in terms of development. So yeah, I definitely felt a pressure for sure, and I was definitely nervous of things going wrong. But then I also kind of said to myself, like, do I truly believe that these can get something? And I'm like, yeah, I do. If I didn't believe they weren't going to get something, then I wouldn't really feel as pressured. But the reason I felt the pressure and the fear was because I'm like, if they don't get something out of today that's positive, then I've done my job wrong. Because I can see and I know from how they were after they won a game, how excited they were coming off the pitch, like just brilliant, and it's like you got a team of little mates. That's how it was at the end of it. We're all just laughing and joking. Do you know what I mean? We're all just laughing and joking at the end of it, and all the parents are kind of involved. And in that moment, I was like, this is the team I want to coach now. Like, I'm emotionally on that day, I was just so invested in it. I came off the pitch, and the tournament was over. Everyone went home, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I was knackered, because you just invest yourself so much in this kind of like artificial tournament landscape, and then it's all over within a few hours. But yeah, I think that anytime you can see someone doing well, and it isn't just coaching in football, it's anything in life, you should celebrate it. Like, you should celebrate it, because everyone's got more potential to do what they want to do, or to do better things. You should celebrate it when they do, even if you're not particularly fond of that person. Just,
Mate, isn't it great? When you can see that something's really giving someone a boost, or someone's really happy or proud of something they've done, and you can just really tell they're feeling good about something, or even if it's something small and they're just really excited about it. Like, ain't that just the best feeling? And through coaching, that's what you can get. But that it's just amazing that you had I'm so happy you had such a good experience with that, because that's what it's all about. And you being afraid of potentially things going wrong, obviously you get through, it ends up being the most rewarding thing. That's what that's what the main base of what I was getting at is, most of the time we're afraid of something going wrong. We're not going to be afraid of something going right. So when you do feel fear, often it is a temporary feeling, and what's going to happen after is actually very rewarding.
And you know what as well, Dan? I think one thing I'll admit that I'm quite nervous of still is when the coach passes over to you to say something to the team. Super nervous about it still.
Yeah.
I still, with the 14s, like, I become robotic. The first few weeks of doing it, it was robotic. It was rubbish. Like, it was scripted. And, it's actually working out how to talk to people confidently about something that you do know a great deal about. Like, the 14s are very good footballers, better than I was at 14, better than I'll probably ever be. But I'm the coach. I understand football. And whether I can play it as well as them or not is a different thing. But I know what it takes to make them better. It was never going to work with me, because I didn't have the mentality and the attitude they have. But the point I'm trying to make is, with the under-10s, that was almost my way of learning how to talk to players, because I kind of put the tactics board away for a second and was like, we're going to win this game by talking, by motivating. Like, that's what it's about. With younger teams, under 16s and below, a lot, that positive, nurturing atmosphere in key moments is what is really important. Just telling a player, even if they've just got to mark someone off their own back, well done, good. Like, it's that repetition, and it's important. So, yeah, love it, man.
It's funny what you say about the coach passing on to you. I just relay the story of when Stephen, first time I ever meeting the lads in Newcastle, and Stephen went to me, oh yeah, Dan's got something to say. Didn't tell me at all that I was going to be doing this. I literally had nothing to say. I had a smile on my face. I said, let's get a win tomorrow, boys. Like, that was it. But then you grow, and you, like you say, yours are robotic, but then they're not anymore. Like, you grow from those experiences of being in those atmospheres of where you're put on the spot. And now, I would still say it's something I want to work on, having the confidence of speaking in front of all the lads, backing what your opinion is, because you don't want your opinion to be wrong. You don't want to be wrong. But if you're not open enough to just say what you want to say, do what you feel is right, and even if it ends up being wrong, at least you found out it was wrong, and at least you gave it a shot. And you know, we're both new in our coaching journey, but even at any point, if you can be wrong, like that's fine.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's just because we were losing a lot of games. It was also like I don't want to do something which is going to like impact it even more. But no, I think those fulfilling feelings and you know, like growing from and developing it from experiences that we put ourselves in, and those times where we experience fear and we get through it, like I think that really is some of the most rewarding things you can do in your life. And if anyone listening right now is afraid of doing something that they actually really want to do, you know, go and do it, because you know, you actually, I thought, oh, what was it someone said to me the other day, or I heard something somewhere. It links to that idea of you have one shot. Obviously, we have one life, but it was like, this isn't a trial sort of thing. Like, this is it. I think that was it. This isn't a trial. This is it. So go and do that thing, because there's no way you're going to regret doing it.
And believe in yourself, and believe in the lessons you've learned throughout your life and the things you've experienced. You know, learn from it. You know, in those moments, like when you're afraid to talk and you've been thrown in the deep end, remember why you're the person talking there. Remember that. Like, you can joke and you can mess around, but like, you're the coach. You're there for a reason. You don't have to be there. If anyone else was going to be coach, they could be. No one was stopping anyone. So it's like anything in life, back yourself, because at the end of the day, you know, it's always you v you. Remember that episode we did in Newcastle, Dan? Only you are on a level playing field with yourself. That is it.
Go and watch The Onion if you haven't before.
Go and watch The Onion, people, because that is one of the best. That's one of the best. And do you know what? There's actually a little backstory to that onion story, but we'll get into that in the next episode. Don't miss it. Episode 32 of the Making It podcast. Dan, I think we've covered all areas. We've gone through a lot today. There's a lot of unwatchable minutes in this podcast, which I will just admit we are going to have to edit some bits out that you won't see. We had a bit of a laughing fit over my email profile photo, which I won't be showing. But other than that, Dan, it's been great talking to you, mate. Have a wonderful holiday. Don't push Kev too much, because he's got a big night in Maga Strip this weekend. So good luck, Kev. There's not going to be any beer left in the whole of Mallorca.
I appreciate talking to you again, brother. And if you're afraid of anything, anyone, go and do it, because it'll be fulfilling and be rewarding.
Take care, guys. Have a good week.
Take care, everybody.
32. See you soon.